certain areas of Canada, it has been going up for sure, but generally speaking, it's been going down. So naturally, if the crime rate's going down, let's incarcerate more people. That's the solution. Also, if you look at some of the bills that have been presented, a lot of times they were based on incidents, isolated incidents. And they were to answer isolated incidents and then look at the greater picture. A good example of this is the Pardons Act, or what's not the Pardons Act, it's called the, what is it called, I forget, the Criminal Records Act. The Criminal Records Act that's been in place since, I don't know, I forget when, is an act where you have a section that deals with rehabilitation, because in the French version of the act, you don't talk about pardons. Le mot c'est réhabilitation. Vous faites une demande de réhabilitation. In English, it's called a request for pardon. And that's after you've met certain conditions. Does anybody know here that there are actually now about 4 million Canadians who hold a criminal record? Did you know that? 4 million.
Wow.
Okay, this is a government that has said in its.
Does that include the people who are criminalized because they can't pay fines for revenue or not?
No, I'm not talking about fines. I'm talking about actual convictions for offenses against federal laws. So if you're talking about a
criminal code.
Criminal code.
Okay.
If you're talking about Code de la route, traffic fines or whatever, that doesn't count.
No, I was just wondering, because you do go to jail if you can't afford to pay a fine, so I just wanted to know if you made the differentiation because between prisoners who were there because of a criminal offense and prisoners who were there because of poverty. So that's
well, usually poverty goes along with criminal offenses in many cases, by the way. But anyways, so there are 4 million Canadians that hold a criminal record. This is a government that has said in its press release when they introduced the C-23 bill back in the previous session. They in their press release they said that the government does not have to pay, criminals should not be benefiting. So what they did in there, something like that, anyways. In other words, in their press release, they treated 4 million Canadians as basic criminals. Now, that's a hell of a lot of people. And in those 4 million Canadians, I mean, you've got criminal records that are, some of them are 20 years old, and the guy never, or the woman never committed another offense. So it's pretty serious stuff when you start using language like that. And in all the years that the Records Act has been in force, the parole board, which is responsible for receiving pardons requests, has granted about 400,000 since the 90s. That's minimal compared to the number of criminal records that have been received. And out of those 400,000 decisions, the success rate is over 97%. So again, here we come with a solution in search of a problem. Because what is the problem? There is no real problem per se if you look at the bigger picture. And what they're doing with this C-23, which became now part of the omnibus, I almost said omnibus. Yeah, sorry about that. What they've done with this, they're reintroducing it in the omnibus bill, is that they're with these new regulations, they're actually keeping a good number of Canadians from rehabilitation, from obtaining something that will reduce the impacts of their criminal records for the rest of their life. Now, if you've ever had somebody who has a criminal record and you don't know what the impacts are, I suggest strongly that you ask somebody who has a criminal record, and they'll tell you that it has an impact on employment many times. It can have an impact on your travel for sure, on your living arrangements. And believe it or not, in the province of Quebec, which is the only province where it will have an impact on your capacity to obtain insurance. And so what they're saying is that if you have a criminal record, well, we don't want to recognize that you can be rehabilitated. Well, we'll even eliminate the notion of pardon and rehabilitation and replace it with criminal record suspension. So basically what they're telling you is that you're a criminal for the rest of your life, if you want to look at it that way. And that's it. And so live with it. And they've created conditions where somebody who was found guilty under summary conviction offense, which is a minor offense, could obtain a pardon after 3 years following the end of his or her sentence. Now it's going to be 5 years. If it's an indictable offense, it used to be 5 years, now it's going to be 10 years. What's the rationale behind all of that? There is none per se, none rational really, other than being nasty is what it is, I think. You know, let's make these people suffer more is what it is, I think. And what it's going to end up doing also is having people having more of a hard time rehabilitating themselves and giving themselves a means to show that they've been rehabilitated, and therefore increasing maybe the risk of some people recidivating instead of going the right way. So these are the types of examples that I think c'est inquiétant, si je peux me permettre. Et quand je regarde la clientèle avec laquelle nous autres on travaille depuis des années, c'est pas très réjouissant, ni pour notre clientèle, ni pour nous autres qui travaillons avec cette clientèle-là, pour essayer de leur permettre de se réinsérer dans la société d'une façon appropriée et satisfaisante. Donc, pour nous, naturellement, la section sur le pardon ou sur la réhabilitation dans le bill omnibus est totalement inacceptable. Il l'était dans le cas de C-23 lorsque ça a été présenté. Naturellement, ils ne nous ont pas écoutés à ce moment-là, puis ils nous écouteront probablement pas aujourd'hui non plus, mais on va continuer à dire haut et fort que c'est inacceptable. Si vous voulez plus d'informations sur les casiers judiciaires et les impacts des casiers judiciaires, je vous invite à visiter notre site Internet, soit de l'ASRS, ou on a créé aussi un site Internet qui s'appelle www.casierjudiciaire.ca. Sur ce site-là, vous allez avoir plus d'informations sur les impacts réels d'un casier judiciaire. Et naturellement, vous aurez compris les impacts de cette loi-là lorsque les gens pourront plus obtenir un pardon ou une réhabilitation sous la loi actuelle. Donc, je vais laisser, je pense que j'ai pas mal atteint mon temps. Parce que je pourrais continuer encore très longtemps.
3 minutes, oui.
Oui, OK. Donc, de façon générale, comme je disais, je vais le dire en français, ce projet de loi-là, et à peu près tous les autres projets de loi qu'on a vu passer ces dernières années, ça semble être des solutions à la recherche de problèmes, parce qu'en réalité, on se demande à quel problème on s'attaque réellement, autre que de vouloir être un peu méchant, si je peux dire, autre que de vouloir peut-être bâtir plus de prisons aussi, parce que peut-être qu'il y a une industrie, je ne veux pas être paranoïaque, mais peut-être qu'il y a une industrie qui pourrait profiter de la construction de plusieurs prisons, etc. Et ça ne tient pas compte aussi, toute l'approche qu'on voit depuis des années ne tient pas compte de ce qu'on a vu se passer dans d'autres pays, comme les États-Unis. Aux États-Unis, actuellement, sont en train de remettre en question toute l'approche qu'ils ont développée depuis les années 70-80 parce qu'ils n'ont plus les moyens de leur approche. La Californie est sur le bord de la faillite parce qu'ils n'ont plus les moyens de se payer les services correctionnels parce qu'ils ont trop de monde incarcéré. La Cour suprême leur ordonne de libérer 35 000 détenus parce qu'ils sont dans des conditions absolument affreuses actuellement. C'est cruel and unusual.